Hello, everyone. That's Luna, number one. Salam dear Mehran, كيفك اليوم؟ شكرا. أنا تمام. Yeah? Is it? Yeah, أنا تمام. She's missing your talks and glad to tune in after what feels like forever and a day. Yes, you're right, Luna dear. But you know why we had to cut it off? There was not much interest. And so we did it once a week. And even today, look, nobody here but you and I. And so I'll probably cut it down and down and down, maybe every 2 weeks or something like that, until people get to know the channel and then they would really want it. Otherwise, it's just waste of time. It's not waste of time, it's actually not time used the best, because I can make other researchers, I can maybe do other videos in the time, or attend to other things. But it's always nice to be here if you guys need me, and here we are. And thank you very much for Luna for the love hearts. This is sending you much love from ZUK. Yes, I have to admit I miss you all as well. But it's funny how much work I get done when I don't do the live talks, because it doesn't cut in the day and there's so much stuff that I get done. So maybe it was meant to be. Tyrone says, oh yeah, yo, back with glory. Thank you. And Luna says, this is a plus to have an exclusive chat. Yes, right. The gods must be smiling down. Oh my goodness, you're so kind. Kind words. I'm here for all of you guys anytime you need me. I see there are 7 of us here, but 2 of us are actually here, 8, and then 6 of us are hiding. Come on out from under the rocks, guys. Nobody's gonna bite. Maybe my little friend would. So maybe that's what's scaring them. Okay, I'll hide this so nobody can see this. Luna says, I went to Whole Foods again today to look for if they have stocked up on Tyler's chamomile flavor. But alas means not, I guess. Really? Like, you guys have Whole Food in England? As you mentioned it before, so I guess you guys do, but they should have it. We have it here. Maybe I should send you one. Dawn says, evening all, hope you're all well. And she sends kiss to everyone. Hello, Dawn, good to see you, dear. And hello, Carpe Diem, good afternoon, Mehran. He says, good afternoon to you as well. And Satsuki says, 26, male Sweden. How do I overcome fears of ending up alone and never finding someone again? Well, that's impossible. Just it's like saying, how can I go to a shopping mall when I'll be just all by myself? It won't happen. It doesn't matter what it looks like, it won't happen. It can't be done. Like, even if you wanted to, it won't be done. It can't be done. It's an impossibility. because you run into people. I mean, we're all about energy, and the energies are all connected. So one way or another, we're going to meet each other. You're going to meet other people, not necessarily the one you want, but you're going to meet other people. And among those meetings, you're going to find one that suits you. In fact, fear of yeah. I have a video on that actually. I was looking for it. If you look in there, just the question that you said, uh, again, it's a fear, right? The problem is that when we fear something, a certain thought of not being able to find someone and ending up alone, that thought, that triggers an emotion, right? Because remember, we always said change your thoughts, change your emotion, because emotions are following the thought. So if you don't have thoughts, your emotions would be instinctive emotions, like danger, that is real danger, is about to, a live animal, wild animal is about to eat you, or something about to hit you, or a thunderbolt, or whatever it is. These are instinctive fears. That would be but now that we've been able to think since 30,000 years ago, all hell has broken loose. You can think of something nasty, negative, some kind, and then you have an emotion toward that thinking of fear. What if I don't meet someone? What if I will be alone? What if I don't know, lose my arm? What if whatever, become poor, or don't have money to eat? What if anything that comes to mind can trigger something? And this what if negative thoughts is part of the brain's function. It can have negative thoughts about anything that could make you fearful, and always you're afraid of what you're not, because you love what you are. You don't want to be anything but what you are. So naturally, the negative thought hits you with making you fear of what if you are what you don't want to be, which is totally false. It'll never happen. But it's a thought. That's how brain functions. That's why some people, get the thought of they're heterosexual. They say, what if I'm gay? Or whatever their gender is, they get the thought of what if they're not what they are. And these are how brain functions. That's its nature of its work, trying to alarm you, alert you, make you to be careful of what seems to be danger to you, to your lifestyle, whatever it is. Something is dangerous to you, whatever your lifestyle is. And the brain functions on that and always tries to keep you alert by making that question, so you will be aware of what you actually got to watch out for, type of thing. But it does it 2 times in some of us, and too many times. And that creates a constant fear, which is then OCD and HOCD, pedophile OCD, harm OCD, responsibility OCD, all kind of subsets of OCD. But this is what the brain does. Now, when it creates any kind of a thought that stills wonder, question, fear, then you have an emotional reaction. Now, check this out. Because the emotional reaction, the thought has no substance, it's not real, it's false. And it would be easy for everyone simply just ignore it and go on. But once it triggers and it's connected to creating emotions, yeah, the emotion is real. But you think, therefore, because you feel the emotion, so the fear of it is real, then you think you actually are or could ever be what the thought suggests. It's, you take the reaction, you take the emotion, the fear, the wonder, the worry, or whatever it is, you take that as an evidence of a thought being true, which is not at all. The thought remains false, inaccurate, irrelevant, whatever it is. But the emotion that is because of a certain thought, look, if I think of sour lemon in my mouth, my body reacts to it. But that doesn't mean I have a sour lemon in my mouth. Or would I really want one now? Not at all. But we react. So it could be anything. A fear of a truck about to hit me, a wild animal. If I really have that imagination and then believe the thought, then the emotion of fear that is gonna make me go nuts and even maybe jump away, even though I'm in my own home, thinking that there is a real wild animal. That emotion and reaction, because you believe the false thought, which has no actuality, reality, and meaningless to you, but you believed it, therefore the reaction, emotional reaction was created, and that emotional reaction is real because it feels like it, then you actually think that's an evidence for the thought to be real, which is all bullshit. Takes you round and round and a nonsense that makes you go crazy. That's why some people go crazy, because they believe their thoughts. Now, here it is the same. You think that I might be alone, then you get the fear of it, and it's the fear of it that makes you think that what you thought might actually come true. But it will never be. It never. I mean, even this, thinking that you'll be alone, will never come true, let alone other things, negative and intrusive thoughts that thought conjures up. All of them false. You just have to diss them and move on about your business. That's how you deal about that. Luna says, there was none stocked till I suppose they must export it only. Yeah, we got them. Well, for a small fee, I may be able to fetch some for you. Who knows? I mean, just across the street, In fact, I've got a box full of it right now here. I can dangle it in front of your eyes if you like. But, nominal, small fee. I'm not about money, but it's a few $100 and the plus shipping. I'll send it to you. I'm sorry, not $100, few $100, a few hundred not euros, a few £100. It's a little bit more. All right. Steven says hello, Mehran. Hello, Steven. Steven, male 40, Los Angeles. And Luna says thank you, Mehran. You're welcome. And Tarun says, narcissistic. Sir, we already talked about my breakup, but I realized that it's not normal breakup. She was narcissistic. It's too hard to move on. My narc ex 22. Listen, you're 19-year-old. You've got no business to be with a 22-year-old woman. Get over it. You made a mistake. You followed your hormones, and that's what we do. You're a heterosexual male, you love women, and you're 19, you're going to follow anything, even if the tree it looks like it's got flowing hair. So, but you made a mistake trying to have a relationship with a much older woman at that age. I know the difference is only 3 years, but at that age when you're 19, a 22-year-old woman is far away and ahead of you. And you won't be able to, and she's looking for, because she's very young herself, she's looking to feel a woman herself, and she needs someone older. And therefore, when she gets to you, she can actually, have you wrapped around her finger. Because to you, she's 22, she's an older woman, that's a credit, a feather to your cap, and you just love everything about it and you want to be a man for her. But you can't really measure up because you're younger and you think, therefore, I have to be always making sure she gets what she wants. So you become submissive. You start trying to do your best, and you think that's how you can be the man that she wants. In fact, not really. The more you do things for her that she's not of the kind to appreciate you, the more she feels like, well, that's available. I don't need this one. I need someone who doesn't pay attention to me. That's because many women or men lack self-confidence and self-esteem. Therefore, they always are trying to reach for the one who doesn't give a shit about them. Why? Because they don't believe in themselves. So they say, if somebody pays attention to me, I don't believe in myself. I don't think I'm much. So if he pays attention to me, then he might not be much. And if he's not much, I don't want him. So they always go after someone who doesn't pay. That's why many women get mistreated. And they actually, in this context, they cause it. Instead of being confident and appreciate the man that they have and the man that is trying to do whatever possible to take care of them. But if they don't appreciate it, they'll never be happy. And they usually end up with some asshole that doesn't pay attention, doesn't have manners, but the woman likes them because the woman thinks, that guy is better than me because he doesn't pay attention to me. Therefore, I must have him. These are the things you got to watch out for. In this case, it was the other way around. She doesn't pay attention to you, narcissistic. She wants to get her way because she can, because you're there to do it, to comply. So she continues, and you get hooked on her, thinking she's amazing because she doesn't pay attention to you, and you want that attention. So you constantly think that she's better than you, and you desire her. And then when she leaves you, she left a real good chance, but you think that you're attached to her because you tried so hard and she dissed you so much, and then it has a negative effect on you and you still want to pursue her, while the best thing to do is to save yourself, move on and find some decent woman who really likes you, appreciates you, wants to be with you, and wants to share life, its beauties, what it has to offer, and all its problems and challenges, to be with you, on your side, by your side, rather than just be there as a leech to just make you feel you're not good enough so she can feel good about herself, because otherwise she can't make herself feel good. She doesn't have that talent to be happy, to feel good, to appreciate life. But she will find that importance in her if she can diss everything that she's getting. That's the kind of girl you want to stay away from. All right. And Tarun says, narc just enter into life to destroy energy. They're real bloodsuckers. I can feel it. They're negative hovering. When it's normal breakup, it hurts normal. But breakup with a narcissistic, it's war within soulmate. Well, you don't have to enter that war. Listen, every war that we enter is our choice. You don't have to enter a war. In Aikido we learn there are 3 ways to win a fight, an altercation, a happening. Imagine this. You're walking in the street and some guy is passing by and comes at you and you fight. Okay. The other one is that you have a plan to go to a fight. So you go and you prepared, this is what I'm going to do, this is what I'm going to do, that's how I'm going to do, and you have that plan to fight. But the third one is the Aikido way. That you just go, and when the fight happens, you just move away. Let the fight go by with its own inertia. And in fact, help it. You move away and give it a little push. A fight energy has its own motions. It's already in motion, that energy. So all you have to do in a fight, which could be physical fight or life challenge, simply take yourself away from the direction where that trouble is traveling. That trouble will continue its travel, but you're not there. You're not there to affect you. So learn how to read the movements. So simply when the bad negative situation is about to happen, you've seen it before, you've remedied it, you're not even there for it to affect you. Same thing. You walk in the street, the guy comes in, hits you, and you hit back, just resisting it. The other one, you say, okay, I have a plan, I'm going to hit it there. So the guy comes and you go and you make a move. The other one, you go, the guy comes and he just wants to hit you and you just move your shoulder away. He's going to go right into the ground with his own force. So this is what you really have to do in life. Some battles, you don't go head to head. You just, as Miyagi said, no be there. Just comes at you, an arrow comes, cover yourself. Arrow comes, defend it and send it away. Arrow comes, move away. Which one is easier? All right, let's go to Gilhem Haas. Okay, now what happened to the protocol, guys? Some of you have forgotten. Gilhem, we have a protocol. It's your first time here, and welcome. But the protocol is gender, age, and where you're tuning in from. Male, female, whatever your gender is, the age, and which country, which city you're at, then I'll definitely get back to you. I need to know the age, I need to know the gender, and I need to know some cultural background. If I know where you come from, that can figure out something. So that would be for me to know how properly tailor-make the response to your question. And the age is important because I want to know who I'm talking to. What age you are, what level I should be speaking with, or should I at all. Didi says, hello sir, I'm 25 from Minnesota. Thank you for that. Male, what to do with people who don't like you? Well, you don't have to like them, and they don't have to like you, and you don't have to expect them to like you. Why should you expect them to like you? They don't like you, you move on. Just like what I said in Aikido. They send the negative energy. You don't have to be there to take it and say, oh, I have to resist this. No. You can simply, two ways, yeah? Either you have a strong energy that is extending outwardly from you to the ends of the universe, as it has started from one end of the universe, passing through you, you direct it and continue on its way. And that strong energy is like the stronger river than the small river that is coming. So overtakes the other river, the other energy is coming to you and moves forward. So you won't be affected by it. The other thing is simply when the bad energy comes, move away. Let the energy go. Meaning, don't get involved with them. Don't expect anything from them. Don't want to associate with them. Don't want to be friends with them. They don't like you, they don't like you. So big deal. The world didn't stop or didn't start. It didn't change because they liked somebody or they didn't like somebody. The world goes on. Your relationship should be with the world, with life. Not thinking that your relationship with these people is the same as relationship with the world, with the life. It's not. They have a puny little fragment of the life of their own. You don't have to be part of it. They don't have to be part of you. You move on different direction. There's so many angles and tangents and dimensions that you don't need them. They don't need you. If that's what they feel. So, they don't like you. Good ridden. Cartu says male 29 India. Hello, Cartus says hello. And he says, I'll be dealing with divorce this week. All the flashbacks and good memories are haunting me. Why? The good memories. You're focusing on the good. You should be focusing on the memories, because the memories are dead. They don't exist. They're non-existence. So whether good or bad, they can't do anything to you. They can't help you. They can't bother you. They're there. Just like everything else that is out there. It's a picture. Without you becoming active in it, that picture is a picture. Has got no character, can't harm you. It is your interaction with the picture that can be good or harmful. So the memory is there. Your interaction with the memory as to envy why it's not there, against, like, you had an ice cream and you're now thinking about the day that you had an ice cream at that outing. Well, your interaction with that memory of the ice cream is what's going to be hurtful or good. Like, if you think, oh, that was a good memory, I enjoyed it, or say, oh, I want an ice cream, because you remember the ice cream, then you're in trouble. You're in pain because you want ice cream. Don't want the ice cream. Just watch the picture, watch the memory as what it is: non-existence, dead, past, a memory. Enjoy it, but don't desire it. Enjoy it, but don't desire it. You think of an ice cream, enjoy it, but don't desire it, so you'll be fine. You think about the ex, enjoy the memory, but don't desire the memory to repeat itself, or her. Then you'll be fine. You enjoy the memory, you got energy, you go about your business. But if you think about something in the past that you liked, so I wanted to now, I wish you would continue, then you're turning something joyful into wanting it to be permanent, where nothing in this world is permanent. So the idea of turning temporary to permanent is the beginning of suffering. The whole theater is temporary. The whole lifespan is temporary. We are here only for a certain short time. And you want to turn something that is happening in this temporary theater, you expect it to be permanent. That's kind of ludicrous. And that's where the pain starts. Yeah? So it's like you just, made a water slide made out of plastics for the day, but you want to have something permanently stay in it. The whole water slide is temporary. It's going to not last long, but you want something that would last forever to be constructed in it. Doesn't work, does it? So same thing. The whole life is temporary, and you want a relationship or the ice cream or whatever it is to be permanent. That's the suffering. So enjoy that relationship, whatever it was, the duration that it took. Its duration and its lessons and experience is over, and now move on to another experience, because this whole life is short. So you need, if something is not working, don't fret it. Don't think about it too much. You do your best, still didn't work out, move on. Life goes on, and it's short. All right. Nikki says, hello, Mehran. Hope you have been doing amazing. Thank you for that, Nikki. I hope you've been well as well. I had finals all last week. And done now. Okay, all done now. Just waiting for grades to be posted. How are you? Well, I'm glad that you did good jobs, hopefully, in your exams. And I'm sure you're going to get the results you expect. And you start a new chapter. That's wonderful. Kudos to you. Good for you. And Cartoos says, oh, we did that. We did take care of the Cartoos. And Satsiki says, thank you for that great explanation. You're quite welcome. And Lone Wolf 199 says hi. Hello, Lone Wolf. Please give me the protocol. Jeffrey. Hello, Jeff says hi, Mehran. Jeff here. Great to see you again. Male 32 Toronto. Good to see you as well, Jeff. Hope all is well. And Tyrone says, yeah, you're right. Thanks for information. You're going to end Google's whole career. More information than Google. Salute, sir. And even Google don't have that stick. That's right. That's that's special stick designed and manufactured for me with special, highly sensitive equipment. Rolling On says, hi, Mehran. Good to see you. Male 33, Texas. Hello, Rolling On. I think you had a comment today that I responded, I believe. And David says, hello, Male 25, Dallas. Hello, David. Jeffrey says, are you a UFC fan, Mehran? There's a match tonight at 9 p.m. your time. Sometimes I watch it, but to be honest with you, like since we are vicious animals, all of us human beings still vicious, we may be entertained, but the whole idea of beating someone to death for no reason, like they're not threatening your family or anything, just for sports, I really don't call that sport. I really call that stupid. But that's what they need to do. And free world, free country, people make money off of it. And that's what they do. They're willing to do that. So to each his own. And I do sometimes maybe watch it, the clips that is available on when I go on Facebook, or when I go on something that I know where they are. I don't look for them, but when I go on Facebook and go on watch, they have like Family Feud, they have UFC, they have theaters, they have old movies, clips of it. And so sometimes, yeah, maybe if I'm in a vicious mood, I watch that, but not often. And I'm not advocating for it. While I understand it's a sport, I find it stupid and unnecessary violence. And if they think they're in king of the world, that's bullshit. There's always somebody stronger than you somewhere. And if you're going to be hunting around to see how many people you can beat to feel good about yourself or say, I'm strong, that's not accomplishment. There's always somebody else is stronger. So you beat some other human being. So what happened? What have you made out of yourself? If there was no money in it, would you do it? So you're doing it for money. Or you're, narcissistic, or you're savage, you're just sadistic, and you want to beat people up, which you're a criminal. So the idea is, if you're defending yourself or your family, I'm all for it. You defend your life, you defend your family from someone who's attacking you. But actually, voluntarily say, I want to beat the heck out of someone, another life form, to destroy it, so I can feel good, or I can make money. Well, isn't there other ways that you can make money? Perhaps not. So if you're not talented enough to make money from something else, maybe teach self-defense rather than beating people up or get beaten. I don't know. That's where I leave it. And it's for you to decide. But I do sometimes watch it and learn something from it, some techniques here and there, or at least analyze their technique. And actually, I don't really learn anything from it, because all I see is he shouldn't have done that, he should have done that one. So it's just there. Anyhow, that's my 2-bit about that. I know you like that. Jeffrey says, good news here too. The dreams of my ex are leveling up. There we go. Jeffrey says, I agree. I wish UFC were more technique based. I get a little squeamish with it Yeah. Yeah. It's, the whole arrogance of it. Like they accomplished something. And some people out there, they think, oh, yeah, he's gone. What has he done? What has he accomplished? Beat another human being or got beaten? What accomplishment is that? That's lack of talent to negotiate life in any other way. So they go into that. Yeah, some people maybe need that because they can't do anything else. But don't tell me that's an accomplishment. Yeah, I'm a UFC champion. So what? Where's the war? I mean, we're living in a civilized world. There's something, yeah, you got to know stuff to protect yourself if somebody attacks you in the street or your loved ones, your family, so you can do what you can. But there's always going to be other people or more people or whatever. So that's why we are in civilized world. We have police force, we have authorities, they're there. They can take care of the matter while you also need to be fit and to take care of yourself. That's beside the point. But the idea of feeling, okay, I'm the guy who beat somebody up, so big deal. What value does that have, in my opinion? Sports, though, it's good. Like, jiu-jitsu, aikido, karate, kung fu, all these are sports. I'm all for them. But that one is just stupid. Entertainment maybe, but stupid. And Nicole says, hello Mehran, hello Nicole, female, 24, Bucharest, Romania. Says, I like to hear your opinion on something which is the best way to overcome emotional trauma. The harm that someone has caused you. Two monks were traveling from one village to their monastery on their way back from some mission. It was a long way, and on their way, they had to cross a river. On the bank of this river, there was a lady who couldn't go because it was ferocious water and it was the river and kind of scary, and she was a lady. So she asked if they could help. One of the monks said, sure. She asked, can you carry me? She said, okay, jump on my back. So the lady jumped on his back, on the monk's back, and he bravely, crossed the river. And the other monk said, what are you doing? What are you doing? We are not supposed. Anyhow, they crossed the river, and then he let the lady down, and the lady left. And this other monk, who was a goody two-shoe, I guess, really strict, says, hey, what did you do? Don't you know you're not supposed to touch women? You're not supposed to be mixed up with desire. You just sinned. You shouldn't have done that. He says, look, the lady needed help. I helped a lady who wanted to cross a river, helped another human being. Anyhow, there was another day walk to get to the monastery. All throughout this day, all throughout this walk, this journey through the jungles and everywhere, this other monk kept telling you sinned, you touched the woman, you allowed the woman to be on your back, you sinned, you shouldn't have done that, this against it. Eventually, about an hour left to the monastery, the other monk who had helped the lady stops and looks at the guy, says, listen, I helped that lady from this side of the river to the other side of the river. That took about maybe 5 minutes. You're the one who's thinking about it for all this time, a whole day. Who's doing the sinning? The same thing here. The trauma was done. You dealt with it. It's in the past. But it was once. Now, who's continuing this trauma is you. Because you want to go back in time to stop the trauma from happening instead of realizing that the trauma is dead. It happened, but it's not happening. It dead, it hurt you, it finished. But every time you think about it, you're going to be triggered with the same emotion again. Yeah? Just think about maybe a school teacher, I don't know, hit the ruler on your hand. Every time you think about that day, it's a possibility that you could actually feel the pain. Because you remember with that memory file, pictorial memory file, there's an emotional file that jumps up with it on cue. And you may feel that pain as well. At least you remember it, then you feel that because of the memory, you feel it now. That is the feeling of the trauma, that you're thinking about the trauma, then you're reliving and triggering the emotions that you got from the trauma that happened then, that is dead, is not happening again, but you're reliving it. You're bringing it back to life by thinking about it, because the thinking triggers an emotion. That emotion is real. There you feel the trauma hasn't left you. The trauma has left you. Trauma is gone. Trauma will never bother you. That incident is dead. It can never bother you. It is a thought, and the thought has no power if you diss it. It has power if you focus on it, entertain it, and engage in it. But if you realize that the thought is not reality, is not actuality, it can trigger reactions or emotions, then you will be realizing that you're safe. It's a thought, not the trauma. It's a thought, not the reality. And you're not the thought, and thought is not you. So you don't have to really react to it, because it has no existence. It's illusory. So stop remembering constantly or thinking about it. The effects of the trauma will stop. Stop thinking about the giving a lift to the lady over the river. Then the sin of it, or the bother of it, or the weight of her on your back will disappear as well. That's what I have to say about that. And David says, on the topic of sports, haha, do you like judo, Mehran? Yes, I do. I've done Aikido for, I don't know, years. I taught it for 35, 40 years on the weekends. So, yeah, I do. I appreciate that. And it says, have you tried it, since it's kind of similar to Aikido? I've learned some jiu-jitsu, not judo. But judo, before I started Aikido, I would dabble with my friends about the books that we would read and judo techniques and all that, but it was always something missing. That's why judo wasn't working that well. But Aikido is like a judo with live flow of river in it. It's like a simplified, stronger than judo, because all you do, you're not using your muscles and weight and center of gravity and all that and brute force alone. You're having mind and body both approaching that technique, which is much easier, because each individual has mind and body. So if you only attack the body with your body, okay, that's part of it. But if you actually unleash your mind to take their mind away, the fact that their mind controls the body, you take that away, their body will be easily thrown. That's the difference between Aikido and many other things. You're not going in there with, I'm here, let's duke it out. Your mind has already done the job before you arrive. And when you're there, you're going to do things that the guy doesn't even know why it's happening. That's called Aikido, in a nutshell. So, Rolling On says, is Aikido real? Oh, yeah. It is as real as you want it. So I have serious doubts that it will not be practical in real world. Oh, it will. When you're at the right level, it does. But when you're trying to actually, you haven't figured out just what I said. The mind part, and therefore the techniques are all physical, and you already have a barrier in your mind before you apply the technique because you believe, as your sight sees it and sizes it, that physical might is limited. When you go into anything with that understanding or belief that you are approaching something with a limited ability due to your physical ability, and that's all you're counting on, then you're going to be having a higher degree of failure there because you already doubted it. But when you go in with the understanding that the power of mind is unlimited, and you've already unleashed it, and it's playing in that technique big time, and your movement of physical movement is all with the energy that flows through it that makes a whole existence possible, then you're actually doing it all mentally, but your body parts is there to direct the direction of the technique and a throw. That's a whole different ball game. And that's why it takes a long time to learn Aikido. All right. Oh no, don't make that mistake. Aikido is nothing like yoga. No, are you kidding me? Are you nuts? You've never seen Aikido, have you? Why don't you watch some of the famous people who do it? If you haven't seen Toi Sensei, 10th Dan, founder of Shinshin Toitsu Aikido, or if you haven't seen Ueshiba Sensei, the Aikikai, and the founder of Aikido in general, like originally, he used to be called O-Sensei, Ueshiba Sensei. And then you can perhaps watch I forgot his name. I had it, I forgot his name. I forgot his name. I'll remember it. Somehow forgot his name. The actor. It was right here. Well, there you go. Anyhow, I hope I remember it. Steven Seagal. Just watch Steven Seagal. He does a different style of Aikido. He does Aikikai. With perhaps he knows of it because when they get to a higher level, they understand the key version of it, the key principles and aspect of it. But it is not taught right from the beginning in all styles of Aikido. But in the style that I practiced, right from day one, we learn the mind power and the role of the mind, the key in the whole lesson. And then we apply that in the techniques. But even so, you can't see the mind power in the techniques anyhow while somebody's doing it. So watch Steven Seagal and you'll see how effective that is. So yoga's got nothing to do with Aikido. Maybe when we're sitting and meditating, that's a different class. That's got nothing to do with yoga at all. All right. David says, have you heard the story of the monk who beat a robber over the head with his umbrella? The other monk said, why did you do that? Violence is bad. To which the monk replied, I was beating him with compassion. So he would not generate any bad karma for himself. Anyways, it's something like that. Yeah, it must be something like that. But it was funny anyhow. And Zaxtro says, Mehran, 46 male, Boise, Idaho. Thank you for that. Zaxtro says, you make sense of how thoughts or memories can control us. But if that's the case, why can't we just completely imagine or think our own happiness true? We're not, we haven't rewired ourselves through neuroplasticity. You see, and he says, despite how unhappy we may actually be. Yeah. Because the mind is based on negativity. Its job is to find problems. And in problems, it tries to find protection for you. Problems, finding and focusing on problems is a way of assuring that you're aware of a possible problem. And it is always easier to stay in negative state because it doesn't take any effort to move out. It's lazy. It's paralyzing, and it's a poison in the system. Unhappiness is a poison. Depression is a poison that keeps lingering there, and the only way that you can get rid of it, or one of the ways other than the clinical ways, is to generate movement and flow of new energy, which is through exercise, running. It's like something is dirty with ink, and the only way to clean it is by pouring more and more fresh water into it. So it washes out the ink out because there's fresh water coming in, and ink has no place but out. So when the energy is murky, is depressed, is sad, the only way is to do activities that introduces you to the bigger body of clean energy, moving energy, which is the universal energy, through exercise, through sports, through activities that brings that conflux of energy. It's like an old pump that you go to get it. In the Western movies, you've seen it. It has a long handle, and the guy goes to the well and does this, and there's no water coming out. You know, there is a pump right beside the well. There's no water coming out, no matter how many times. But until he actually pours some water with his hand into the mouth, into the neck of that apparatus, that pump, then suddenly you do a couple of them, the water comes out, because it has created an environment and opened the pathways for the energy to be exchanged. When you are cooped down, anxious, or depressed, the flow of energy has stopped. So in order to pump it, to create more universal energy, find its pathways to be able to come and pass through you, you got to start moving your ass. You got to get up, do some sport, some exercise. Creation of movement, locomotion. And through the locomotion of the body, you actually, while you don't know how to do it through meditation, but through locomotion of the body, you will actually increase and encourage the flow of the energy of the universe to enter your body and clean it out. That's why people who are involved in athletic performances, sports, and so on, hardly are depressed. They're constantly getting fresh energy coming. And if they're not feeling so good, when they go to practice, they come out fresh. Have you noticed after every game you play, every sporting exercise and activities, you feel great, you feel relaxed, you feel not depressed, because all those neurotransmitters, serotonin, melatonin, meeting with friends, oxytocin, and then it's being mindful because you're doing the sport, creates the GABA neurotransmitters. These are all anti-anxiety, depression, and intrusive negative thoughts. The actual GABA neurotransmitter, they have now found out which neurotransmitter is responsible for what kind of, not just which part of the brain is responsible for what kind of action or what kind of a behavior. They also know what kind of neurotransmitter is responsible for what. And all of that is achieved by exercise, by meditation, by mindfulness. So, throughout your life, you have been conditioned not to know these things. You've been conditioned to live a mechanical process, a mechanical life. I'm sad, I'm sad. I'm not in control of it. You have no idea that you're in control of it, at least to a certain extent. At least there are things you can do it. And you're so paralyzed by feeling sad and depressed and unhappy that you don't actually get up to do what it takes to encourage that water through the neck of the pump, flow of the energy through the universe, and get that whole energy conflux and exchange happening, because you're too depressed. But if you know that it takes only one, whatever, it's like a ship that has got stuck in the space, and you know they get, we got no battery, no nothing, no juice. So what do? They say we have only a little bit. So they shut everything else, life support, all lights, everything, to get enough spark to turn the engine on. Then the engine will replenish the whole electricity and all the energy they need. So if we realize when we are anxious, or when we are depressed, or when we are unhappy, we have no energy to get up to do the sports that is necessary to bring about that energy conflux and get us in the good mood. But if we realize that we only need enough to get off our butt and start, just start, not having enough energy for the whole duration of the exercise. No, just enough to get up and start. Once you start, it's like that pump. Start it, the rest of it will happen. The locomotive of the old engines, that you crank them, one crank, that's all you need to start the process. When you're depressed, when you're sad, when you're unhappy, just find enough juice to convince yourself to get up and start something. Biking, running, doing something. That start, that gets you start in that exercise, will bring more and more energy for you automatically. And then you kind of get out of that ditch. So the reason that you don't do that is because all your life you've been sold the bill that you can't do anything. When you're sad, you're sad. It's not up to you. Because we have learned that what we think is going to determine and how your mood is, and we think we cannot get ourselves out of bad mood. Why? Because we keep thinking about the same way. The reason that you cannot move yourself out of that, what you said, is one, because you've been conditioned to think that you don't know. All your life you've been conditioned to think that is your limited power. You have no choice in this. You're sad, you got to wait it out. Second is that you basically don't know. I forgot the second. I should have said the second first, and then so first is that, and the second, you don't know that what you think is actually what creates your emotion. So if you think that you can't, you won't be able to move out of it. You can't move yourself into happiness because for years you've been conditioned that you can't. Now you haven't rewired yourself to believe that you can. Once you keep doing that for a while and you prevail and you will see that you can, then you will automatically, through neuroplasticity, you rewire yourself that I can get myself out of unhappiness by anything menial that I can do that puts me in that direction of exchange and conflux with the energy of the universe, to get rid of the old energy that is causing me to feel this way, and to bring the flow of new energy that is refreshing me, gives me the assurance and that connection with the nature. Then I feel more secure, I feel more confident, I feel more connected, and therefore I end up seeing the light and become a little bit happier and happier. So I hope I didn't forget the bits that I wanted to say, which I know I may have, but I hope I did what needed to be done. And Nicole says, therapists consider that trauma should be revisited and somehow healed. Well, revisited in the memory, how? You just go in there and you realize that it can't do anything about it. It can't do anything to you. So revisited for what? When something doesn't exist, you just have to realize that it happened and you have survived. and you're bigger than trauma. Because if trauma was bigger than you wouldn't be here to question it. That would be the end of you. The fact that you're here, that means you survived, trauma didn't. Now, you need to focus on all your abilities and things you want to accomplish. So naturally, by not revisiting it constantly, the synaptic neurons will start becoming dormant and being active of keep remembering the trauma. When they're dormant, then they're going to be marked with CQ1 protein, and the glial cells, when you sleep, going to go and find those proteins that have been marking those synaptic neurons bridges. They're going to destroy them. So more and more you'll become less able to actually remember the trauma because you haven't been focusing and entertaining it. And naturally, anything that we don't focus on so much, like piano playing, if we don't play enough, we'll forget it. And the same thing about trauma. We also forget that. But if we constantly fess with it, instead of recognizing that the trauma happened, but I'm here, I won, trauma died, I'm here, I survived. Trauma is not here, not around me. It's only the memory. And the memory cannot do me anything. Memory is dead, has no power, not even in existence. It's like you watch a movie of somebody jumping off the cliff. If you become mindful and understand that this is a movie that they made of one event happened. Forget about that they made that fictitious and nobody really jumped. But just imagine like, okay, something jumped. Even when they were making the movie, if you imagine that this is just a memory of that making, the movie, the video that you're watching, is not really happening, is recalling that day that they were filming that somebody really, a stunt person was jumping over the cliff. If you understand that, then you understand that it's really not happening. So if it's not happening, why am I fussing about it? Everybody is safe. Everything is safe. So trauma, you've already had the experience of it, but right now you're watching the movie of it. Why? Is it enjoyable? No. So then say, okay, I've got no business with it. So you keep moving on and understand that memory is not live. Memory is dead, is non-existence of the past. Past is dead, doesn't exist. Therefore, anything in it that has captured as memory is just a memory recording, but is dead, can not ever harm you. So it's just filed. But if I keep opening that file, I get emotional reaction to those pictures in the file. So why should I do that? I already went through the trauma. I survived. I won. Therefore, those pictures can't bother me anymore, even if it comes to my mind. Because I constantly remind myself, I won. I'm here. I survived. Trauma died. It doesn't exist. It's not here. It can't bother me. So I choose to push this. You know, I remember, I mean, it's probably different than what you're saying and probably not as significant at all, but it's a way to look at it. I took a horse out when I was a teenager, and the horse, I was stupid. I mean, I didn't know better. I hadn't started my real training yet. I was just riding horses, but not in real training. That later on I found how to train and communicate with the horses and so on and so forth. You know, it's things that you see in the movie. So I had spurs on, and this horse was, to start with, was kind of vicious anyhow. And I had, in order to control it, spurs on and the whip. It's totally against our rule later on when I grew up and I started my training, found out. So, and I was never a violent person myself at all with horses or anything, but I thought that's how you control this horse. So I had spears on. And the horse wasn't a jumper. I took the horse, but already hard-headed horse, and difficult to handle. So I took the horse because I always wanted to learn jumping. And I could see the instructor is teaching others, but I wasn't part of that group. So I went out somewhere and forced the horse, who was on the jumper, to jump over a fence with, my whatever I knew at the time. And then I came back in front of the arena outside. It was all outside in the country club, but the gravels underneath were all sharp, hard gravels, not soft ones, sharp, hard gravels on concrete, on asphalt, right around the arena. So I stopped there watching. God knows what happened. This thing jumped up. I don't know, got spooked or whatever it happened. I was sitting on the horse here. This was the horse. Jumped up so much that he couldn't hold back. And he actually fell back on top of me. Something took care of me that day. I didn't get melted underneath that horse. And all I thought was, I better get the rein so the horse would not escape, so I won't be in trouble with the colonel. That was a different colonel than my later on teacher. But I fell on concrete, on asphalt, with all those pointy, sharp gravel, and the horse on top of me, but somehow my legs were out, I guess. I didn't get melted. That was a scary shit. Everybody spooked and scared. They thought I died. But there we go. I got up, and of course the horse pounded on my boots when got up. So my foot was a little bit hurt for maybe about 10 minutes. That was a trauma, if I wanted to think of it. But I didn't. I thought of it as an incident that it was partly my insolence and partly what happened, that this horse did that. And I focused on, here is the kicker, maybe you can use it. I focused on the fact that how lucky was I. I wasn't focused on the fact that I was nearly dead and I almost died. That wasn't the issue. The issue was, I was so lucky. Nothing happened to me. That's something good. I survived. I was focused on how special I was at that day. Something took care of me. Something good happened. I wasn't focused on the danger and the trauma and the fact that I could have died. I was focused on that I survived. Somebody took care of me. Something happened. Wow. That's a different way of looking at it. So I ask you, instead of me constantly going back in there and saying, wow, I almost died, and focus on that and bring more fear to myself, I focused on, wow, I survived that trauma, that incident, that attack, that vicious, whatever, intentional or not intentional of the horse, you can say anything you want. It wasn't successful. I was successful because I survived. That's what I focused. There was no trauma anymore. It was an incident that I survived. I wasn't a victim anymore. I was a victor. So the same thing with you. If that is relevant, if you can, think about it. Something bad happened, but you survived. You got out of it. You're okay. And only focus on the fact that you survived. You prevailed. You did not become a victim, even if you were at one time, but you became the victor. And that's what you should be focusing on. And perhaps that would make the difference. Rolling on says, I saw this once, Aikido, black belt versus MMA, real sparring, and it didn't went well for the Aikido. Yeah, of course, because it's stupid to be there when you probably are two different levels. The guy at the MMA was probably at the top of his game, and the Aikido guy was just a black belt Aikido. That doesn't mean anything. That doesn't mean he actually is using the Shishinto Aikido. He doesn't using his mind powers. He should be a Aikido guy never should go in there when he's not at the level that he can actually see it coming. And if he's not versed, because anybody can lose a balance at one time or another. So if he falls and he doesn't know jiu-jitsu, he doesn't know wrestling, he's doomed. So it's not about MMA over Aikido by one guy over versus another guy. That doesn't represent MMA versus Aikido. That represents that guy versus that guy. Simple as that. And it really doesn't matter. What matters is if each can open life for themselves the way they want. It shouldn't be a question of who wins over, because that's how life has been. Always compare. Who's mightier than that? Well, what good is that? This is the life that it's not in the old times to have the swords go out and see, I'm stronger, I can beat the crap out of you. It's a time about laws and civilities and what we can make out of this life, how we can have a smoother journey. So the idea of looking for MMA, Aikido, big fucking deal. So what? Some guy loses, some guy wins, but that doesn't determine the lifestyle or the institute of Aikido or institute of MMA or whatever it is. Just one guy against the other guy. And this whole idea of being against is the problem. People are still trying to elevate themselves by being against something. Have you not noticed that? Anybody who wants to make a shortcut and feel good about themselves, they are going to be against something instead of going to produce something. Make something out of themselves. They just find the cop-out, cheap way, easy way out, and they attach themselves to a cause, and they say, I'm against this, and I'm for that. And that makes me important, even though I haven't produced anything, done anything, accomplished anything. But that cause is there, so I stick myself to that. That makes me important. And for that, I'm going to have some kind of an attitude about myself. And then I'm going to sell it out to whoever is weak-minded enough to take it. That has been the way of how people feel important about themselves. Instead of really being active, really being accomplishing things, being a role model, being builders, building things, accomplishing things, and building lives and contributing to the world and life and nature in general, rather than just talking about it and through some menial behavior making it look like as I'm making a difference. Now, you're making a difference in your own mind, but you're really doing nothing. You're just being lazy and just using that platform in order to make yourself feel that I'm accomplishing something, but you're accomplishing nothing, pretty much in that level. All right, let's go to Marshmallow. Says 18 female from Botswana. How can I get over a guy I really liked for a long time? I've noticed that we're not going anywhere, but I find it so hard to get over him. Any advice? Yeah, get over him. Because it's not hard to get over him. It's the fact that you don't think you can go forward and accomplish something. So you want to be happy by finding somebody rather than be happy on your own. Then go and somebody's will appear in your life. Yeah? Otherwise you will become resentful, always saying, oh, I want that, and you will not be able to enjoy anything else while they're all in front of you. So ditch that thought and go for what's out there and build something out of yourself. Be happy, and then you will have happy people following you. And Nim says Islamic prayer is good for depression as it rewires the brain and keeps you calm. Well, listen, I'm not preaching any religion here, so if that works for you, great, continue. Rolling on says nothing. This message is held for review. Let's see. Victoria Soledad says, you gotta move your ass. I needed to hear it just like that. Thank you. You're welcome. And Rolling On says, okay. And Lovely Lily. Oh, hello, Lovely Lily. What a lovely screen name. I like that. And 29 female Pakistan says, Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. How are you, dear Mehran? I'm good. Thank you very much. And how are you, dear? Happy to see you. She says, I'm late, but happy to listen to you right now. Wonderful. Good of you to join us. And Nim says, Nim, I'm sure you're here in good intentions, so enjoy the conversation. This is not a religious platform. So if you want to preach Islam, or you want to preach Christianity, or you want to preach Judaism, or you want to preach Buddhism, or any ism, you can do it on your own time, dear. Everybody has their own beliefs and paths and religions, and it's important and sacred to everyone, whatever they choose. But this is not a religious platform for you to want to diss someone's respond to your comment out of the blue, talking about prayer does this, prayer that. Well, many people use Islamic prayers to help themselves. Many use Christian prayers, Christianity prayers, and Judaism prayers, or Buddhism prayers, and any other kind of prayers, or just meditate, or whatever techniques they use. But we're not here to promote this and that. We want to find commonalities, not differences. Because as soon as you talk about Islam, then somebody else who's not Muslim is going to talk about their religion, and that one somebody else is going to talk about, and everybody is going to become separated based on the differences of their belief in the type and the brand of the belief, which are so many different days. But here, usually, in fact, in the world, the whole idea is to find commonality. Even though we're all different, well, we can focus on commonality, not our differences. So at this particular little place, we want to talk about things that can help us all, regardless of the religious influences, because that has its own place. And I'm sure each religious person has their own platform that they would enjoy discussion about their beliefs and faith and so on, and that's the appropriate place for that. Not here. We're talking about mostly non-religious stuff, and if we talk about a certain religion, it'll just be a little mention here and there. So I'd appreciate it if we don't cause that to become a separation between the people who are participating in here. You made a comment, and Rolling On made another comment, which was very apropos to what you said. It's his opinion, and that's your opinion. Both are valid and good for each one of you as you feel like it. But no sense of trying to get sarcastic at each other's, that's not what we're here for. All right? I hope that you can appreciate the spirit of what we are here for to accomplish. And so where were we? Lovely Lily says, in last month I asked about my breathing obsession awareness, and you told that it's automatic function of your body, just don't focus. I followed your instruction, but sometime it's back. I guess I'm on rig. I'm on right path. Yes, you're on right path. Because somehow I start to relax my mind that it's an automatic function. Yes, it is. So I don't need to be panicked. Yes, you don't. And next, I want to do meditation, but I'm afraid that in that I have to focus on breathing. Well, there's a different kind of meditation that I have in my video, as you know, 3 different kind of meditation is discussed in that, and you can choose the concentration meditation, and that would be perfect for you if you like, which has got nothing to do with your breathing, because you know what, regardless of what you think, breathing cannot stop your thoughts, cannot stop your breathing. Like, it's an impossibility to stop your breathing by your thinking. Just impossibility. Like, try it. I bet you $100, but you got to pay me too, that you can try for 1 minute or 2 minutes or 5 minutes thinking that you're going to stop your breathing. At the end of 5 minutes, you'll see you're breathing. You couldn't. You couldn't if you even wanted to try. Because that is the whole purpose, whole motor, whole nucleus of our survival. There are certain involuntary things that the Creator, whatever it is for you, universe, God, nature, has put it in there so you cannot cause your own death. Other than you jumping over a cliff or getting a knife or something. You just can't. It's like the robot that is programmed in the movies you've seen that cannot kill his master or cannot kill people. You can arrest them maybe, cannot kill them. So it just won't happen because it doesn't have that capability. Our brain is very powerful, and could be very dangerous, but it can never kill you because that's its protocol. It is not designed. It is designed to protect you. It is not designed to kill you. Your brain is designed to protect you. So whatever you might think, your brain will counter it so it won't allow a harm come to you by your thoughts. That's why we have harm OCD, which the thought wants to or imagines that you're going to harm yourself or somebody, but your actual brain is programmed not to allow it, and it will never happen. That's why it's an OCD. It's not an actual, because if that happens, then you're going to be put into a crazy place or a jail as a criminal. But that doesn't happen. That's why we have this subset of OCDs called harm OCD, that people get a thinking of harming themselves or somebody else or doing something, but never actually do it because their consciousness, their core values is protected and is going to stop them from doing something that they actually don't want to do, but their thoughts suggest. That's why I always said, thought is not you. You're not thought. And thought is intrusive thoughts. It's negative thoughts. And you got to understand how thought operates to understand that thought that pops up in your mind is not your thought. Your thought is very clear what it is. It's selective information from the consciousness for the purpose of calculating something, figuring out something, designing something, producing something, accomplishing something, learning something. That's your thought, your thinking. Everything else, which is about 80, 90,000 thoughts a day show up, it's got nothing to do with you. They're all intrusive thoughts that you have learned automatically to diss them and ditch them and move on. But they're there, like the debris in the air, but you pass by them by simply avoiding them. Or debris on the ground. You're walking from here to there, there's dog shit, there's debris, there's garbage, but you simply maneuver. They're there, but you don't notice them. You just notice how not to engage with them. You just notice that they're there, so you notice where to step, not focusing on what you don't want to step. You're focusing on where you do want to step. And that is an automatic. Same thing. Thoughts appear, all kind of shit. But we are trained to focus on our day and our life. And while these debris and these garbage thoughts pop up there, irrelevant to us, we have nothing to do with their presence. They're there, but we've learned to let them be, and we do our own thing. When we engage with these thoughts, then they become OCD thoughts. They're taking our attention, which we shouldn't. And that's why we should learn by our behavior of understanding these thoughts, gauging them against our core values and principles, and dissing them and ignoring them. Our behavior rewires ourselves through neuroplasticity, and we will learn to bring back that ability of not paying attention to these thoughts, so they won't turn into OCD thinking, and we will be able to let them be, and we will just not notice them and do our own thing. So, on that note, you are on the right path. You cannot harm yourself even if you tried, because there's a mechanism there that it doesn't allow breathing stop, because there's no stopping. Breathing and heart, they're some of the features that we have that cannot be stopped by you. Now we're talking about breathing, so let's talk about that. Through some exercises, you can make the heart stronger so they can beat slower, and through some meditation, you can bring your heartbeat down. But these are different than what you're talking about. Breathing is the only thing that you can't stop it or harm it in its function. It doesn't matter what comes through your mind. I want you to try, as I said before, do this and do this. If you would have any intention, or if there was any possibility for breathing to stop, well, it would stop right now, because you're helping it, you're closing this and closing this, so it should actually get a jump start and stop it. But you can see that it doesn't. And within seconds, you let go, because you want to survive, because the mechanism wants you to survive, because it doesn't stop breathing. And the only way for you to do is to actually cover this. What, are you crazy? As long as you don't do that, it will never stop breathing. Because we are part of this universe. Universe doesn't destruct itself. It's constantly in the motion of energy, and its mandate is to help things grow and develop, help things survive. The nature's key energy is to replenish you with energy so you can survive. That's its mandate. Now, if you go harm yourself by doing this or jumping off the cliff, that's not about your breathing stopping on its own. It's about you being an idiot, which I know you're not, of course. I'm just giving you an example. So, you're on the right path, and simply have faith in the Creator, universe, energy, nature, God, whatever you want to call it. You are here. And look. Animals don't have these thoughts. Animals don't have OCD. You know why? Because they can't think. They're instinctive. They've trusted their instinct. They don't have speaking ability. They don't have words. Words don't translate into any thought, or thought doesn't translate into words. There are no such intrusive thoughts. It's all instinct and survival. That's all they have. That's why they never have OCD. We have OCD and all kind of these sort of things that you're talking about, and many different kinds, because we think. And in the thinking process, in the thinking ability, we have a malfunction. The malfunction in thinking creates negative thinking, and creates out of fear, and creates intrusive thinking. And those thinkings end up being the glitches that makes us feel that something's going to go wrong when nothing's going to go wrong, because nothing will and can. It's only thinking. And the thinking makes us believe that something can go wrong because it's an idea. It's a thinking. But nothing's going to go wrong. But we have been conditioned to believe what appears in our head as a suggestion, as a thinking, as an idea, to be reality. The brain doesn't understand. One of the problems with our brain, work in progress, is that brain doesn't understand the difference between actuality and virtuality. If an idea comes into his head, it reacts to the idea as if the idea is real. So if it comes to his head that you can't breathe, it thinks that you can't breathe, but you actually can't, because you will always. How long have you been thinking that your breathing might stop? How long? A long time, right? Has it ever? It hasn't, has it? So the thinking suggests, and you believe the thinking because you're conditioned to believe thought is you, and thought is reality. But thought is not reality. It actually has no presence, has no existence. Is virtuality, is an idea. An idea has no actuality to it. But you've been conditioned to think a thought is real, which is a false. With that conditioning, you think what appears in it as an idea, it can happen, but it actually doesn't. And you don't learn from the fact that the idea and the actuality are different, and this idea can never create this actuality that is hinting on, because it can't. So you don't believe the facts, and you keep believing the illusory idea that suggests to you. Why don't you focus on the actuality? And the actuality is this. How long have you been thinking that you're going to be stopped breathing? A long time. Has it ever? No. So why don't you believe? That's the actuality. The other one is a thought. It's intrusive, negative, and incorrect, false thought. Because all thoughts are intrusive. All thoughts that appear in your head are intrusive. They're not your thoughts. They're thoughts. And thoughts are not you. You're not thoughts. And that's the end of this story. I hope that helps you out. On meditation, you can just simply go to my channel and click on meditation, and you will have a number of videos that is for meditation. For example, here, meditate. See? Meditate. And there we go. We got 2 of them right here. I'm going to give it to you. One is here. There you go. There is one for you. And then there's another one, which is pretty much the same, just have a little bit of a maybe different in, I don't know, aesthetics. So there you are. That's the second one. And I'm gonna see what this third one is actually, because I hadn't noticed. Third one is how to meditate effectively and feel amazing. Okay, I'll put this one out for you too. That's 38 minutes, and within the 3 you will have lots of repetition. And if you do that, oops, what happened? Oops, what happened? Oh, there we go. All right, there we go. Okay. And Zaxtro says, lovely lady. Oh, okay, you're talking about that. All right. Nicole says, I see. That's a very good point of view. We have to learn to be present. Thank you. You're quite welcome, dear. Lovely Lily says, yeah, Mehran, advice help me. Okay, great. Delighted to hear that. Zaxtro says, yes, Mehran is a very wise man. Thank you, Zaxtro. Very kind words, my friend. Says, lol, Mehran, a person asks, how do I get over a guy I miss? He answers simply, yeah, get over him. Too funny. It's simple but true. Yes, it is, isn't it? Stephen says, even though I'm taking to or spending time with other girls, I get flashbacks of memories with the ex. What causes this? Humanity. You're a human being. That's what causes it. You're supposed to have a recollection of things, and that's okay. But you don't have to desire what you recollect. You don't have to think what you recollect is actuality or truth or factuality. It's an illusory. It's a memory. It's in filing cabinet. It's like saying, oh, what do I do if I go and open the filing cabinet and find pictures of the old times, and what do I do not to see them? What do I do not to actually recognize those pictures? What do you mean? You look at something, you recognize it. So if you have had memories, you may recollect them at one trigger or another. But quickly recognize that this is a memory, this is recollection, this is not actuality. It's not happening anymore. It has no actuality. It's illusory, it's dead, it's gone. I don't have to worry about it. But if it's a memory that comes to your mind, it's pleasant, enjoy it. If it's not pleasant, then move on to whatever it is that you're doing. Bring yourself to the present moment again. Because where you are is in the death of the past. You're in the memory. Memory is the past. Past is dead. So you're in the death of the past. So while you're in the memory and thinking the memory is reality, which is not, you're actually missing the actual life, which is right the moment that you're missing and wasting it being somewhere else. So you're in the reality. It's like you're right in front of the food in the restaurant. You're about to put the food in your mouth and you stop eating and you say, it's all right. I'm going to nourish myself through the memory of the food I had 2 weeks ago. I can see it. It was a spaghetti. It was very good. Oh, yeah. So I'm full now. What bullshit is that? Actuality is in front of you. It's food. You eat the food. It's the now. Be with the now. That's where things are happening. That's the real food in the real time. But yet you leave the reality. You go into the memory. You think about some nonsense in there. And you think that is going to be able to bring you an effect of your actions or your intentions in the now, that you're not making an effort, you're just wasting it on being busy some in other dimension in your memory, and you think that memory, that whatever activity you have in that memory is going to create or manifest itself in this moment. No, you got to be here in this moment to have the spaghetti, to be active, to exercise, to interact, to create things in the now. You can only create things in the now. Effort equals the present. Now equals effort. Effort is the now. If you're not making an effort, you're not in the now. If you want to be in the now and live your life fresh, then you gotta be in the same place where your efforts is happening. Actuality of your efforts. Then you're in the now. Otherwise, the living that you call living is actually death of the past. Because you're in the memory. Memory is the past. Past is dead. So you're in the death of the past while you're living. So the living that you call, if you're constantly in the memory and dealing with the stuff in the memory, your living is coming to become in the death of the past. And you'll never be living. You'll always not even be here. You know? Oblivious to what's really happening. So, hope that makes sense to you. Nim says, how about food for healthy mind and function of body and brain? Yes, absolutely. Food. Don't eat junk food. And, you know, they have found out that fatty food reduces the GABA, which is a neurotransmitter responsible for anxiety, depression, and intrusive thoughts. So you got to have good fat and proper amount, not junk and fat stuff. That's what I remember from the article that we read. But for the ones who actually are interested in the article, which we talked about, I don't know what the name of it was, but I actually read the articles for you live, and I've trimmed it as one standalone video about those articles. Let's see if I can have it come here. Transmitters. I'm sorry, I don't know where it is. I may find it later and then somehow maybe later on bring it. But we have that already discussed there. Zaxter says, "Hey, Mehran, huge congrats on hitting 20,000 subscribers, my man." Yes, I know. But you know what? It's been about 7 years in the making. I don't know, Zaxter. I'm not found. Somehow I'm not found. And it took 20 years to hit 20,000. I mean, not 20 years, 7 years to hit 20,000. I know I haven't been knowledgeable about how to really do it right. And I've been probably doing it wrong as far as tags and thumbnails. And recently, within the past year, I've had decent tags and good tags and decent thumbnails, beautiful thumbnails and so on. And then I'm making the videos shorter so more people will, with their ADD, everybody apparently has. Nobody wants long videos, but it has made some differences. And also, lots of live talks. We had live talks 2 times a day for the past, I don't know, 60 days or 30 days. I don't know what happened. So anyhow, that may have helped, but still nothing. As you know, 20,000 it doesn't help the channel as much as 200,000 or 2 million would. But my channel simply is not visible. I don't know. It's not pushed. It's not suggested. And people find it accidentally. When they find it, they stick and they swear by it. But we are hard to be visible. We're not visible. And that really, is unfortunate. I wish more people would have, not more people. I wish YouTube would have had a mechanism that would recognize these helpful channels and with good quantity, good quality and of content, and would promote them. But we are lost in the sea of the channels, and hopefully we'll be found soon enough before we drown. And it says, "You deserve 20 million subs for sure." I thank you very much. You're very kind. I appreciate these kind words, and they're really encouraging. And I have to say, I agree with you. Says, "But great work. Keep up the amazing videos and streams." My pleasure. I thank you very much again for your support and for your kind words. And here's a message for Zaxtro. From Zaxtro that I just said it needed to be viewed to show, so I clicked on show so everybody can read it. All right, now we have Lily, lovely Lily says, "I really, with beautiful loves, says, love you, dear Mehran. Happy to find you in my life." I love you too, dear. I'm glad that I could be of some service, and I'm glad that you enjoy the channel. And thanks for your support, enjoying the contents here, joining us in the live streams. And Steven says, "Amazing answer to my question. Thanks." You're welcome. What was it? I should remind myself. I'm one of those off-the-cuff speakers. I don't even know what I said, but I'm glad you enjoyed it. Donya, that's Doina or Donya. So Doina. Female, 30, UK, says, "Hi, Mehran. I feel like the person or partner I'm looking for doesn't exist." Oh, we all think that way when they don't exist. It's like saying, "I don't feel the hamburger that I really want exists," because, yeah, you're not in a hamburger shop. You're at home or you're in a pizza place. You can't find hamburger. It's true. But you will change this opinion once you find that person. It's like saying, "I don't know where I've left my keys." You don't when you actually do find it, because it will be found. Accidentally or purposely by search, you will find it. And when you find it, say, "Oh, I was wrong. It does exist." So that's what I'm saying here. Don't conclude something that you are not conclusive in its in its result. You're making something that is not conclusive. It's inconclusive. You want to pretend that you have concluded its outcome. Why do you do that? Why? Because you're impatient. You say, as we've all been learned since childhood, not us, my generation, maybe the new generation, that I want it now. If it's not happening now, that means it doesn't exist. Impatience makes you think that something that you're searching for doesn't exist. But you know, when you lose your keys around the room and you look for it for half an hour, you don't find it, you say, oh, it's lost. But lo and behold, if you increase your search for another half an hour, you'll find it. So what you said, what you assumed, and resulted that it's lost, it wasn't true. But if you don't continue the search, when you dubbed it it's lost, will become true. Why? Because you're not doing anything to prove it that it's actually not true, and it can be found. You stopped activity. It's like, people go and drill for oil, and they drill about a 200 meters. So there's no oil here. If you stop, there's no oil here. That's for sure. Then you have said it correctly. The conclusion to the board of directors is that, yeah, there's no oil here. But if you continue another 300 meters, oh, sorry, I should have said there is no oil in the 200-meter drilling depth. So I should say, when I'm looking for my key for after half an hour, I should say, I haven't found the keys yet. If you don't find the person that you're looking for, say, I believe I haven't been able to find that person yet, so far. But you can't know what tomorrow's search will bring. You don't know, because tomorrow is not here. But you want to know what is not here would contain, which is, conclusion to you, it doesn't contain what I'm looking for because I couldn't find it here. Therefore, it cannot be in the other room either. Why? Because I looked here in this room and it wasn't here. That's what you're saying. You say, I looked so far, it wasn't here. Therefore, I conclude tomorrow that tomorrow is still not here itself, is not going to be found in there either. On what basis? Have you gone to tomorrow and seen it's not there and come back? And then after that, the next tomorrow, the next tomorrow, the next tomorrow. You haven't done that. So how could you conclude that I believe it's not there? Well, you can say that I believe it's not there for the next 10 years. If you've already passed the 10 years and in the 10 years you didn't find it, then you can come back here and say, I believe for the next 10 years, I won't be able to find that person. Then I believe you. Why? Because you traveled in time. You lived that 10 years. It wasn't there. You're coming back here. You're telling me that I searched. It wasn't there. But you can't say it wouldn't be there, because after 10 years, there are going to be other years. So what I'm trying to say is that don't conclude something that you have done a limited search, and you want to conclude that limited search is that continuous and infinite search that is necessary to locate something that you're looking for. Therefore, having said that, all right. So guys, whoa, we went over the 1 hour. You guys tricked me. But anyhow, we still have 19 people here, and I'm grateful for that. But it's time for me to say that it was a pleasure to have a chat with you guys today after a week. And we will have another live streaming next week, Saturday at 1 o'clock. And please do not hesitate to inform your friends and promote the live talk. And I hope I can make a little introduction for the live streaming and modify it, the dates from every day, 2 times a day, to only Saturdays at 1 o'clock. And maybe you guys can use it and go on my channel, find it, and then share it on your social media and promote the live stream video, so we can all be able to help reach more people and help more people. Now, it's time for me to say I love you all. Thank you very much for being here and giving me the opportunity to share a thing or two with you. It was fun. I hope it was fun for you as well. And I look forward to talk to you again next week. In the meantime, watch the videos and enjoy the videos, and don't leave the channel alone. Promote it, encourage other people, introduce it to other people, talk about it on the chat lines or whatever it is, forums that you participate. And in the meantime, be good to yourself and to the others. I'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.